Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for joining us for another week of the Magnet Weekly CTF. We are going now into week 8. Time is flying by, so we are cruising through Linux. Today, I have with us special guest Ali Hadi. We have Mike Williamson, Tara Melton, and of course Jessica Hyde. Well, so how's everyone doing today?
Excellent.
Awesome.
Real,
Lovely.
Great,
really
great.
excited for Thanksgiving coming up.
Yep, yep. Well,
We already
yeah,
had it. You guys are way in the past, by the way.
yep. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Yeah, that's going to be participating in that later this week. But yeah, the Canadians. Yeah, I mean, y'all. What? October, early October, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you know
So
what? We could have it again. I mean, I wouldn't be
yeah,
opposed.
I like it.
Throws me off. It's just the wrong order.
That's right.
Excellent. So we are going to start with Mike. With you, we're going to actually go into the week 6 challenge that you threw out the gauntlet for everyone, and I know people want to know how you solve this. I've seen a lot of chat about this. So
I
with
have,
that.
yeah.
We're going to just jump right in. We're going to turn it over to you so you can kind of walk us through that solve, and then we're going to go ahead and kind of roll into the week 8 challenge.
Awesome. So I'll just get my screen sharing here. Now, I definitely did hear a bunch of different ways to do this. And I mean, again, I knew that there was going to be, technical people sort of before and after me, particularly with this image. So I went for the kind of scavenger hunt approach. And, I definitely think that it was a learning experience for me as well, because this was like one of my first CTF questions that I've written. And so I had fun with it, but I think I learned some things about how I would do things a little bit differently next time. Anyway, so without further ado, starting with question one, this was designed to kind of be the easier kind of a gimme one. And so, but then again, like I saw a number of different approaches to how to get to this. And so I was very, very fascinated by that. So the first one refers to dependency installation. Now, obviously, you could do like image-wide keyword searching, and I've got Examine open here already. But how I personally did this was to actually start with like a Google search, so figuring out where failed installations happen or get logged on Ubuntu. So like the very first hit you get here is pointing you to var log. Now, if you're a Linux person, you might already have kind of known to go there. But I also wanted to show that when we get into that location, um, although we do have this history.log, there's a lot in there. But there's also another folder here called crash. So that might be something that you stumbled across as well for whatever reason. So this package here is actually the dependency, but the question itself was, what was the error code? So rather than working with the big log, I'll just use this one. I will say that the same error code is available from actually multiple logs. So again, there's like numerous ways to solve this. Also, both of these nodes have the same issue. So there's that as well. So I'm just going to go into my log here. All right, so if we pop this open into Notepad++, I've already done the search here, but if you just locate the error, the code that we were looking for here is actually 404. So just switch back to my question here. Flag is numeric, answer is 404. So we kind of store that away in our minds. And so then it says, don't panic about the failed dependency installation. So a closely related dependency was installed successfully at some point. So because this is actually the JDK, what we can do is actually go to the partition, just run a name search, and we'll just put in JDK. I always like to do my big searches first and then change my view. Otherwise, it takes a little bit longer. Okay, so you can see that the JDK, there's actually a couple of folders here. One of them is an attempt file. So this one here is actually the more likely, installed officially one. So if I'm just going to navigate to that, USR local, and there's JDK. All right, so just flipping back to the question here, you can see where did it land? So we know that now. And in that folder, compared to its binary neighbors nearby, this particular file seems rather an ELF ant, elephant. So what we need to do is go into the bin folder for its binary friends. We'll just remove our filter. And you'll see we have a number of binary files in here. But the elephant is obviously going to be the biggest one in the room, or perhaps not so obviously. I shouldn't say obviously. Obviously to
Oh,
me,
now I get that part.
yeah, the elephant in the room.
I was hoping we were going to get a joke today.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to focus on this. So here's the elephant in the room, Unpack 200. And this is actually the one that I saw a couple of different methods with. And so I actually want to show two ways of doing this today. So let's just extract this and we'll switch to our saved files directory. Okay, so there's a couple ways to do this, as I said. One of the ways that the Linux people in the room might have done it is from, I'm using, Windows subsystem for Linux here. But if we just have to go 3, save files 2. All right, and then it's readelf, which is just a binary that can go through ELF files and do fun things with them. So if we use the -s argument, so readelf-s unpack 200, we get all of the symbols. Now, obviously, this would be a pain to search through, so I'm just going to do a select all here and pop it into a Notepad++, and hopefully our search works this time. And we will just do a search for 00404 because in the question we did say leading 00K. So let's just put in a couple of there with our error code. And you can see we get 3 functions, all of which have the same root word of deflate, which was our flag. Now, just to show you that this is doable in other tools, I have ghydra open. So we'll just open the same binary. I've already done the analysis on this. I actually had to find this button myself for the first time, but they have a symbol references button up here.
What?
So if you click on that and you just type in 404, it'll filter all of the functions here, and those same 3 functions show up. So I know a lot of folks were looking at this from like an absolute offset point of view. They opened it in a hex editor or even a strings point of view, which you could do in various reversing tools. But the functions themselves were the ones that I was looking for in this case. So hopefully you had some fun finding that. If it motivated you to get ghydra installed and you haven't before, then I feel that's a victory. So that's it. That's the solve.
Awesome.
Wow,
Awesome.
that's great,
Thanks,
Mike.
Mike. That's
Thanks.
awesome.
That was great. That was a good walkthrough.
Yeah.
Love it.
So we are now going into week 8. We obviously want to thank Ali. You have let us borrow your Linux image all month, and everyone I really think has learned a lot. Just reading through Twitter and Discord, definitely. So we all came and spoke at MBS this year for Magnet. We loved having you, and this has been a great image for everyone to do some learning on, and we've gotten some
Um,
artifacts
you
out
know
of it.
what? I'm going to share something people might not know. Your Linux lecture was actually the highest registered session at Magnet Virtual Summit. People really want to learn about Linux forensics.
Great job.
Thank you. Thank you all, guys. Thank you.
So with that, before we get to your question, we always like to offer a piece of trivia that everyone can then run to the Discord and try and answer. First person who gets the right answer gets 5 extra bonus points. So with that, do you have a trivia question for this week?
Yeah. So if you are following the community and you are following like the conferences, the CTF. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to speak at OSDFCon last week because of some personal issues. Who were the 2 students who did the presentation instead of me, or they did I was supposed to be with them, but they did it. So who did that?
They
Awesome.
were phenomenal.
That was a great question. They did such a great job. That was a great presentation.
If anyone missed that Linux IoT forensics presentation, I highly suggest you go check it out. Just stellar work that you and your students are doing, Ali. Really, really awesome stuff.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you for the question. So we'll see who gets the extra points this week. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and let's talk about this week's challenge. So it is going to be a 2-part question. That being said, we're going to leave part 2, for those of you who find it and get to part 2, but you're going to have to answer part 1, obviously, to get started. But Ali, can you tell us what the first question for this week is?
So the question for this week will be on the master cluster, which is the main HDFS master node. Which package was installed by the threat actor? That's part one of the question.
All right, so that is going to be this week's challenge question. You'll have two parts to that, and we will, check on the answers. So moving right along, though, we are coming to the end of November, which means it's time for another forensic image. Tara, do you want to tell us what next month's image is?
I am excited because this is my nerddom.
Your
But
domain.
we are going to start looking at a Windows memory image, particularly the one from the MBS CTF that we did earlier this year in May. So I'm really, really looking forward to some of these questions. We have a couple of other examiners that are going to be writing some of these questions. I'll be writing one of them. We also have Lenita Hinch and Jamie Tubbs from Magnet. And we also have a special guest that's going to be writing one of the questions, which we will keep a secret for right now. But stay tuned for that. I'm really, really excited.
Excellent. I'm excited for this, and I think memory is going to be a whole new ballgame for a lot of people. So this is really exciting stuff, and there's going to be a lot of different ways to solve these questions. Jess, who do you have on Cash Up this week?
Speaking of memory images and examiners who do a lot of good memory work, Lenita Hinch is actually going to be the guest on Cash Up this week. So might be a good time to tune in. Maybe she'll drop a hint about her question. I don't know. We'll have to find out.
Definitely want to tune in for that.
Yeah, definitely. I think she's going to be one of those that drops the gauntlet like Mike did. So I could see that happening.
And I would say, Lenita's just incredible. She's worked in law enforcement. She's worked in corporate, all before coming to Magnet. Like, really going to be an episode to check out, especially if you're interested in maybe a memory hint. She doesn't know that I just promised she's going to give a hint, but we'll see.
I'll definitely tune into that tomorrow. Well, with that, thank you all for joining us, and we will go ahead and cut it from here, but we'll see you all next week. Good luck.
Good luck, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.